go to the picture cut.
We're live. All right, well, everybody, welcome to Florida Softball Network for game number 2 of the day, the second of 2 seeding games. As the Jupiter Lightning are going to be the visiting team against the TCAA Wildcats.
Well, Dave, I have to say the weather has changed dramatically since the first game this morning. It was 39 degrees when we started. Now we're up to 58, heading to a high of 67. So really is a beautiful day for softball.
It really is. You're not out here sweating. And now that the sun's coming down, kind of keeps you warm, comfortable. Great day. Great day for softball.
I would venture to say the leadoff batter is probably one of the tallest players in the tournament. And that is Ainsley Graybeal. Should lead things off here on the top of the first inning for the Jupiter Lightning. As Dave mentioned, going against the TCAA Wildcats, our second game today. The Lightning won 2-1 earlier, and the first pitch was swung on and driven into short center field for a leadoff base hit on the first pitch of the ballgame.
Ainsley's having a great day today. Pitched a solid game. First game, the bat's been looking good.
And just like that, we are underway here.
Squares for the bunt. Takes it.
Cameron Solano spared the bunt, and throw goes into center field and all the way down to third base goes Graybeal. So very quickly, unlike our first game earlier, the Lightning have a runner at third base with no outs here at the top of the first inning. And now even a safety squeeze could produce an early run. One ball, no strikes. And the pitch is hit down to third base, and that'll drive in a run as it gets past the third baseman. And we'll wait for a ruling on that, but it is a run in, RBI. And the Lightning take a very quick 1-0 lead, Dave.
Yeah, jumping out on the Wildcats. 2 batters up and already 1 run in. Not much history on the Wildcats. From what I understand, this is one of their first USSSA games. They play in a different league.
You see a little bit of swagger, I think, after that opening 2-1 win, too.
You got to bring that confidence. Yeah, it's going to definitely boost your confidence.
Second base is high as well. Another stolen base, so very quickly 2 stolen bases for the Lightning.
They're still bringing that aggression on the base paths from that first game.
And that was ruled a base hit, so 2 singles and 1 run in. And Solano is the runner at second base. And the pitch is popped into short right. And that's going to fall for a base hit as well. That should have been caught. But they're filming for a base hit. Avila Fitzgerald, who was hot in the first game, gets a base hit.
But it's runners on the corners with no outs.
Haley Hirsch will be coming to the plate in just a moment, but a quick timeout here taken by the Wildcats. That ball was just really popped up to the infield to the first base side. Nobody called for it.
It definitely should have been an out, dropped in. I'm sure the Lightning will be happy to take what's given.
3 straight singles to open up the ball game, Dave.
Bats are hot. They've been hot all day. Lightning is swinging away at everything.
So runners at the corners with nobody out here in the top of the first inning. And Haley Hirsch will step to the plate in the cleanup spot for game 2 here. Just a couple of mental mistakes really early on for the Wildcats. And the first pitch to Hirsch is fouled back out of play. Solano was on the move on that pitch.
Definitely looking to free up first base. Put both runners in scoring position.
No balls, 1 strike, and the next pitch is up high for ball 2, and really almost runners in difference there, but it goes to stolen base here, and that'll be the 3rd stolen base of the inning for the Wildcats. So they have runners at 2nd and 3rd with nobody out here at the top of the first inning. And the pitch is up high again for a ball. So 2 balls and 1 strike. On the cleanup batter, Haley Hirsch. But we should mention the catcher's indifference in game one, really the difference in that ball game is it turned the fortunes in the fourth inning. 2-1
Interference. Catcher's interference, not indifference. Interference. Absolutely kind of worked in favor of the Lightning. Again, you kind of take what you're given.
Right, runners in second, third, no outs, and a 3-1 count. And this pitch is hit into right center field, and that's going to drop in for a base hit. And that'll score 1 run. As coming around is Solano, and they're going to wave to the plate and in at the score as well as Fitzgerald. So she just kept on the move, and it's a
2 runs across.
2-run single.
2-run double. Well,
take second base on the throw. I don't
she
know.
did.
So still no outs. 2 RBIs.
Puts the Lightning up 3-0.
And the first pitch is back to the pitcher. Only play is the first base for out number 1. Hirsch will move to third base.
Yeah, well,
So swinging at the first pitches, we saw that a lot in game 1.
a little confusion. Who's at bat?
Held us out 1-3. So apparently it went off for tie.
So confused here.
3-2 count. Yep.
All right.
3 balls, 2 strikes. That one went off for tie, so it's a dead ball at that point.
All right.
Hirsch stays at second base with no outs here. 3-2 pitches way up high for ball. He's calling it 3-2 out to the coaches. And apologies on the count there. Umpire signal 3-2. Sawyer Clement is up there with no outs. Three runs in the first inning. This is popped into short left field. And shortstop makes the call and makes the play for out number 1.
Hirsch hung up at second base. Couldn't advance on that one. It's on the left side. No, not enough room to tag up.
A very fast start, Dave, for the Lightning here. Different than what they saw in game 1. First pitch swinging again. This is hit into right field. And that'll be caught. As Addison Held flew out to right field for out number 2. And timeout had not been called. Now she's going to send her back to second base. So time had been called once the ball came to the infield. And Hirsch came out advance. There are 2 outs now. And Haley Hirsch still at second base. Seeing a lot of first ball swinging going on.
Reese Kennerson coming up to bat. Reese having to take off her catcher's gear, so she's obviously going to be catching here in the first inning.
3 singles. Ainsley Graybeal ended up with the leadoff single. Came around to score as the Cameron Solo and Avelo Fitzgerald on the double by Haley Hirsch. And now Hirsch is just
Delayed steal.
headed over to third base there. Nobody paying any attention. And that'll goes to 4th stolen base here in the first inning, Dave.
Yeah, but like I said, the aggressive base running still carrying over from that first game. Now with a little bit better results, which is great for the Lightning to see.
The pitch is outside for ball 1. Lightning with 3 runs on 4 hits. 4 stolen bases here in the top of the first inning. Looking to go 2-0 on this tournament. And this pitch is hit in the center field. That could drop for a base hit, and it does.
And it does.
And Haley Hirsch is in to score the 4th run of the inning. 5th hit, and an RBI single for Reese Kennerson. So all the base runners that have gotten on base here in the first inning have come around to score. And it's a 4-0 lead in the top of the first. And This is another base hit by Kennedy Copeland into left field, and that'll move runners into first and second. And the 6th hit of the inning, Dave.
Well, there was enough action. If there wasn't enough action for you in the first game against the Lady Gators, there's plenty for this one. Just starting off the game.
Didn't have much trouble keeping up with the scorecard in the first game, but this first inning has been quite interesting. So,
absolutely.
2 outs, runners at first and second, and the pitch is low and in the dirt, but blocked nicely by the catcher. Ashton Maxwell behind the plate for the Wildcats did a nice job there. 1 ball, no strikes. And the pitch by Segura is up high for ball 2.
Wildcats or Lightning? Lightning. Who is Wildcats?
Where are they from?
Yeah.
Treasure Coast.
Thank you.
Sure.
Runners at first and second, 2 down, top of the first inning. A count of 2 balls and no strikes. And the pitch is in the dirt again. Both runners will move up on a low pitch that could not be blocked by Maxwell that time. So 2 more runners in scoring position with a count of 2-0 here in the top of the first inning. I mentioned during the warm-ups, Dave, the pitcher, Alexander Segura, was a bit inconsistent getting the ball over the plate. It's been the case here in the top of the first inning as the next pitch way up high, and that'll be ball 4. So the bases are loaded in the top of the first inning.
With 2 outs, pressure's on the pitcher now.
That'll bring up Cody Springer. Bases loaded, 2 outs, top of the first inning. And the pitch is called strike 1. No balls, 1 strike, and the pitch to Spring is fouled off out of play. So a count of 0-2. 4 runs on 6 hits, 4 stolen bases. A couple mental errors by the Wildcats here in the top of the first inning. And the 0-2 offering is low, and that's going to score another run as that'll be a wild pitch. And in to score is Reese Kennerson. That's the 5th run of the inning for the Lightning, who scored only 2 in their first game.
And a number of these runs coming in with 2 outs. It's always frustrating. You can't grab that last out.
So 1 ball, 2 strikes for Kennerson. He looks at into short left. And play is made for out number 3 as a catch by the shortstop. But in the inning, 5 runs on 6 hits, 4 stolen bases. And as we go to the bottom of the first inning, the Jupiter Lightning lead the TCAA Wildcats 5-0.
So the magic question here is going to be, what do the Wildcats bring to the plate? Again, no familiarity with the team. We'll see how their bats shape up.
And you can afford to relax a little bit after you build a 5-0 lead, but the most important thing, I believe, is coming out and really trying to shut them down early. If you do that, this game can be over in short order.
Especially in the seeding rounds, because in the seeding, any run scored against also affects your seeding. So if you can maximize your run differential by scoring more runs and not allowing that many, helps you out and lets you get into the bracket. And single game elimination today. So no room for error once you advance out of this last seeding game of the day.
Thank you for watching on the Florida Softball Network. Dave Peterson along with Dave Hirsch. And again, a beautiful afternoon still to come out and enjoy some softball if you're watching the live stream.
Still time to get down to the field. It's now a nice afternoon after a chilly start to the tournament this morning. But now, beautiful. People still bundled up in jackets, which is typical. Not your typical softball day in Florida where it's usually t-shirts and shorts.
Well, the Lightning sent 8 batters to the plate in that first inning, and 5 of them scored. 6 base hits. And again, I mentioned a couple of mental errors really popped up, which should have been caught by the first baseman, and a pass ball that allowed a run to score, and allowed the runners to advance as well. And a couple of mistakes there. But nonetheless, it is a 5-0 lead for the Jupiter Lightning.
Up on the mound, pitching for the Lightning, Ava Horsewood. Warming up, Reese Kennerson, catcher. Playing first base, Ainsley.
Lightning in their lime green and blue uniforms with the white jerseys. TCAA, their black pants, white shirts, trimmed in blue, red lettering. We mentioned in the first game, of course, there is the 7-minute rule, and when you have a lot of runs scored in any inning, it really eats a lot of time off the clock. So this one we'll be lucky to maybe get 3 innings in David.
Yeah, depending on
here, but let's see how it goes.
Depending on the pace, I've got game time. We're about 60, a little over 60 minutes into the game time. But as we learned previous game, the clock starts at the plate meeting, so might be about 20 minutes into this game already, with only half an inning played. Reese with a nice warm-up throw down to second.
That's something we were talking about in the first game, is that accuracy, because you have to have a quick release if you're the catcher, and the throw has to be accurate because you have really limited time to get the throw down. The percentage of runners thrown out is very small. Based on those factors. Well, here we go, bottom of the first inning.
She might kill it.
Maybe they're not supposed to stay. Maybe it's just a cold thing. Horsewood, as Dave mentioned, on the mound for the Lightning. We lead 5-0 here in the bottom of the first inning.
Looks like just making a few adjustments there. Changing that play card on her arm. Put that onto her catching arm instead of her throwing arm.
That one picture of Rusty.
The first pitch is low for ball 1.
I mean, that.
Next pitch is way up high for ball 2. Peyton Herndon is the leadoff batter. Five to nothing lead, 5 runs on 6 hits in the first inning, and 3 straight balls to start things off for Horsewood. Mentioned you can relax a little bit, but you don't want to relax too much.
Absolutely.
This is the defense. 3-1 pitch is a called strike. Three balls, 1 strike, and the leadoff batter. In the bottom of the first inning. 3-1 pitch is in for another called strike 2.
Looks like the pitcher's dialed it in, found that comfort zone.
And the full count pitch is outside for ball 4. So she lost her. And a leadoff walk for Peyton Herndon. Hard to get the numbers from our vantage point here in the press booth. First pitch is a bunt and it's fouled.
So you have number 86.
Tracy Timmerman.
It's a big number for softball.
It is, yes.
Also apparently a defensive lineman.
Peyton Herndon is the leadoff runner board on the block. She has a delayed steal to throw down second base. It is not in time, so stolen base for the Wildcats. It's their first runner of the game in the scoring position. How are they doing? The next pitch, bunted out and missed for strike 2. We talked a little bit before the game started about fundamentals, Dave, and how important those are, of course. And you mentioned it is early first games of the season here. But those little things like making sure you make contact on the ball, even if you foul it off, but don't bunch and miss on it. This is hit right back to the pitcher. He goes over to first. He would have had to play at third, but Timmerman is thrown out at first base. Turned into Jensen over to third with one out.
Sometimes maybe when you're sitting on that lead, you have that comfort to go ahead and let that runner advance, knowing you can get the easy force out at first. And that's probably the decision made there.
The distance, too, at 60 feet. You don't have as much time as you might in baseball at 90 feet to give a glance over to third first and then go to first.
That is true.
You need to get the out, like you said. So one out. The first pitch is up high for a ball.
Good job, Reese, jumping up to grab that one.
Alexander Segura, left-handed batter.
Would you like some hot chocolate? This one is hot.
And the 1-0 is slapped.
Nice hustle by the catcher. Just did not pop up high enough to allow her to make that play. But good hustle.
1 ball, 1 strike. Peyton Herndon, a leadoff walk, who was advanced to third base. On a steal, and then a ground out. And another pitch was shot foul off the first base line. Not the same velocity that the pitcher had in the first game, Ainsley Graybeal, but still pretty accurate thus far by David Horswood. The 1-2 pitch is just high for ball 2. You're just joining us, a 5-run top of the first inning for the Jupiter Lightning. 2-2 pitch is up high again, and the count goes full. On Alexander Segura. 3-2 pitch is low and running and in to score. The first run of the game is so coming all the way around to score the first run of the game. That'll go as a wild pitch. And no hits here. That's what I mentioned about that runner at third base, though, David. Get off that lead runner. Next pitch is swung on and fall back out of play behind us.
I saw the shadow of it.
One out here in the bottom of the first. Watch out for these flying balls, okay? Next pitch is changed up, swung on and missed. Come on, girl.
So not a shutout today. Score 5-1. And goes down swinging.
She goes down swinging.
Although I don't think she's aware. There we go. So that brings us to 2 outs and a runner on 1.
Olivia Mott swinging. So 2 outs, and the runner still at first base is Segura. Bottom of the first inning with a 5-1 lead for the Jupiter Lightning over the TCAA Wildcats.
And the runner's going.
It's going to be tough to get the runner on a change like that. Good job backing up in center field. McKenna Vaughn, the batter for the Wildcats. Pretty hard to throw a runner out when your pitcher throws a changeup.
Absolutely. Does not give your catcher a chance at all.
So another runner in scoring position here for the Wildcats. The 1-0 pitch.
That was a nice pitch. Right down the middle there on that one. That was a hitter's dream. Let that one go by. I'm sure she's going to be looking for another one of those.
2 outs, runner at second, and kind of 1 ball, 1 strike, and the pitch is low for ball 2. Nice block by play.
Catcher asked for another look. See if she went. Umpire says no.
And the pitch is called strike. 2-2. One run in here in the bottom of the first. The Wildcats trail 5-1. 6 hits on the board in the first inning for the Lightning. On account of 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pitch change. Ball 3 just missed. That was pretty close.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. The umpire did not like it. Did not like it. Let's see what she's going to do here. That one's going to come in a little high.
And now we go to a full count on McKenna Vaughn. So 2 outs, runner at second. And the 3-2 pitch. He swung on. Up and out of play. Just behind the backstop. The count holds at 3-2.
But it didn't mean anything. I guess it's okay, but he's razzing about it.
3-2 pitch is a change hit back to the right side. Second baseman up with it, and the throw to first is in time for out number 3. But in the inning, the Wildcats come up with a run. No hits, no errors, and 1 runner left on. We played 1 inning here, and Jupiter Lightning leading by a score of 5-1 over the Wildcats.
It's a 30-minute inning right there. Not going to get too deep into this game at this pace. As we're just going to go into the top of 2 here in a moment.
We'll see also in the second inning if the Wildcats continue to make those mental mistakes they made in the first inning, which really opened the floodgates for the Lightning. And the Lightning also were very aggressive in that first inning, swinging at a lot of first pitches and connecting as they came up with a total of 6 hits in the top of the first.
Yeah, Wildcats definitely going to need to dial in their defense here if they're going to stay in this game. They got 1 back. They're on their way to getting it, but still a deep hole to dig out of. Do you dig out of a hole, Dave?
Well, yeah,
climb out of it.
Depends on how deep the hole is. I think that's.
You can dig all the way through to the other side, I
You
guess.
probably would dig the hole, but you would climb out of it. That's a good point.
There you go.
Well, that is a funny phrase, actually. Dig themselves out of a hole.
Is that the phrase, though, or did I just butcher it
Oh, I believe
completely?
that is the phrase.
Looks like we're going to have leading off Ava Horst with the pitcher to start off the inning for the Lightning at the plate. You can see her over there on the right side of your screen taking some warm-up swings. We'll work on her timing here against the pitcher.
Amazing the coordination it takes for a tournament like this with all the teams that are involved and the umpires and scheduling and everything that takes place. Do a really nice job. And the facilities I mentioned in the first game really are outstanding here.
Absolutely. Doing a good job trying to keep up the field.
We'll see if Alexander Segura can fare a little bit better here, the pitcher. The Wildcats in the second inning. As Dave mentioned, Ava Horswood will lead things off for the Jupiter Lightning here in the top of the second, and the Lightning leading by a score of 5-1.
How we're going to get a wrangle all this.
Ava, the last batter in the lineup for this game. We'll be right back at the top with a great drill.
Hit hard down the third base line to foul.
Sounded good. Nice connection. Just a little too far foul.
I think that swing answers the question, will they be aggressive here in the second inning?
That was another first pitch swing, correct?
He was way out ahead of that, but good contact. So count of 0-1, and the pitch is a floater up high for ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. We're at the top of the second inning. The Lightning leading the Wildcats 5-1. A beautiful Sunday afternoon, as I mentioned, for softball. And the 1-1 pitch is low for ball 2.
Nice pick by the catcher there.
2 balls and 1 strike. Lindsay Grabeel waiting on deck. As the Lightning sent 8 players to the mound. Oh, a swing and a miss. It would have been ball 3. A Goes good. So that will even the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You gotta say that.
Segura rocks into delivery. The 2-2 pitch. He is swung on and hit foul off third base once again. What we're seeing here in the second game day is more solid contact with bat on ball here than they had in game 1.
I wonder if with it warming up outside, it affects the players too. They're a little bit looser and ready to swing away.
2-2 pitch by Segura is swung on and hit right back to Segura to make the play for out number 1.
Nice play by the pitcher. Almost more reflex than anything else. But a great catch.
That hard like as well. So. And that'll bring out Ainsley Graybeal. She had a base hit on the first pitch of the ball game. Eventually came around and scored the first run of the game. First pitch bounces in front of the plate, rolls to the backstop. The ball 1. Segura ready. And the 1-0 offering is hit to right field, right after right fielder. It goes off of her glove and over her head. And Graybeal's going to run to second base and get in. So an error on the right fielder. 2 base errors. Graybeal will get into scoring position.
The cameraman missed that one. But leads into a 1-out double.
Went off of her glove. She had a beat on the ball and just let it go over her head as it touched her glove. So 1 out, Graybeal into scoring position. And this pitch will bounce to the backstop. Graybeal will advance to third base without a throw.
You know, and now we're finding the ones that are
Cameron Solano had a base hit as well. Drive in that first run. And the next pitch is hit down to short. And the throw is to the plate. It's way too late for the plate. Fielder's choice, and the run is in. That's the 6th run of the game. And Graybeal scored relatively easily, Dave, after getting on first.
Yeah, I think she had a good jump. Had a good jump right off that hit. Didn't give the shortstop any time to get that ball out of her glove before already crossing home plate.
That's an error officially for the Wildcats. And another run in. And the first pitch is hit in the hole and gets through for a base hit. Solano will continue around to third base. And again, the Lightning now getting something going here with runners at the corners with 1 out. Haley Hirsch will be up once again. She had 2 RBI double in the first inning.
Right. Yeah, you don't want them up. You don't want that to get them.
Fitzgerald runs down to second base. They're down to throw, so runners at second and third. With only 1 out here, and a 1-0 count for Haley Hirsch. These look promising to start the inning, but now going in a different direction here. And the next pitch is hit down the third base line to foul. And they'll leave the count at 1 ball and 1 strike.
With all these balls getting hit down third base line, obviously these swings are early.
Yeah, but get that timing down a little bit. Watch out. This pitch is up high for a ball 2-1. Of course, the mental mistakes we mentioned, most of the physical mistakes, that drop ball that was an easy out in right field led to another run here in the second inning.
Wildcats really need to dial it in defensively. Stay in this game. You don't want to let this one run away from you.
And the next pitch is fouled at home plate, but the catcher did not come up with it. And again, that's a catch that should have been made. And that'll be simply a strike.
Could be a little tough with the sun being where it is right now. I think she was looking right into it and probably lost it into that sun.
Didn't use the glove to shade her eyes, though, and that might help her a little bit. But
It's a Catcher's running over to dugout real quick.
So Haley Hirsch with 2 balls and 2 strikeouts. He has runners again in scoring position in second and third.
Catcher's behind, just a little bit of a gear issue. They quickly fixed on the mask. Just ready to get back at it.
The Horswood at third. Able Fitzgerald second, and here's a base hit into left field. And another 2 RBIs for Haley Hirsch, and she'll drive in both base runners.
Great.
And 2 more runs in.
Hey, let's go soy sauce.
That's the 7th hit of the ball game for the Lightning. Second hit for Hirsch. And she now has 4 RBIs. Still only 1 out here in the top of the second inning. And the pitch is swung on and hit to left field. That'll drop in for a base hit just over the third baseman's head. Nobody covering the bag at third, and Hirsch will make her way to third. And going into second base with a slide but no throw is Sawyer Clement. And she'll get a base hit. Hirsch goes all the way around to third. So once again, runners are in scoring position in second and third with 1 out. And that'll bring up Allison Held.
Addison Held. Having a great day today with the bat. Let's see if that continues here.
Popped out to first base in the first inning.
That previous game, she was really smacking the ball. See if she can find one here.
And the first pitch is inside for ball 1. The way this inning started off was innocent enough. It looked like the Wildcats might get out of it without any damage, but suddenly an error opened the gates once again. It's now an 8-1 lead. And this pitch is now over the pitcher's head. That'll score at least a run, and she'll be safe at first with an infield single. And going over to third base is Clement. And runners are at the corners, still with 1 out, and that's an RBI base hit.
Sometimes it just takes a little looper. Not always that drive out into the outfield. You can make something out of it. You can hustle down to the base fast enough and outrun that throw.
We may have a pitching change coming up.
Hold on. Where's our
Here
camelback?
that is the case. The umpires are conferring here. It's a 9-1 ball game here in the top of the second inning. Segura hasn't really been hit hard, Dave, but it's been in the right spots.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, the aggressiveness on the base paths by the Lightning have aided them. So the conference appears to be over, whatever it was. There was not a pitching change. There is still 1 out, and runners at the corner for the Jupiter Lightning. And the first pitch is low, and blocked. Going down to second base is Addison Held. And now runners at second and third with 1 out. Reese Kennerson is at the plate with a count of 1 ball and no strikes. And the 1-0 pitch is grouped over the pitcher's head once again. That'll drive in a run. The throw to first base will be in time to get out number 2. But Clement comes in to score the 10th run of the ball game. So 6 runs in the first, 4 runs here in the second inning, and still a run at third base for 2 outs. And that'll bring in Kennedy Copeland, 7th batter to bat here in the second inning. Some bloop hits, really, Dave, and some things that have worked in the favor of the Lightning here in the first 2 innings.
Just found the little gaps in the infield, blooping it in there. Last couple of batters, but managed to get runs across off of those.
We're ready. The 1-0 pitch is hit down to short, and it'll be an error on the shortstop, and another run comes in for the Lightning. 5th run in, and the second error committed this inning by the Wildcats. They could have and should have been out of this inning quite a while ago, but it is now an 11-1 lead here at the top of the second inning. Runner at first base, so Luca Hansberger is the batter for the Lightning. 5 runs in, 3 hits, 2 errors. And some nifty base running by the Lightning here in the second inning. The 1-0 offering by Segura is way up high for ball 2.
Right now, the Lightning playing a little more conservative on the base paths, not sending the runner from one.
2-0 pitch is in for called strike. They throw down the first, not in time.
Nice try by the catcher, trying to keep her honest.
As I mentioned earlier, the Wildcats could easily have been out of this inning without much damage, if any. But an error on the right fielder, about 2 runs in. This pitch is hit foul off the third baseline. Strike 1. So 2 balls, 1 strike. 1 on, 2 outs here at the top of the second inning, and 5 runs in the inning. And 9 hits already, Dave, in 2 innings. And this pitch is popped in the air, topped by the shortstop for out number 3, but in the inning, 5 runs. On 3 hits, there were 2 errors committed by the Wildcats and 1 run left on board. After an inning and a half, it's the Lightning 11 and the Wildcats 1.
Well, if there was ever a time to dig yourself out of a hole, this would be that time. You're going to have to dig and you're going to have to climb. Your 10-run deficit. But as we've seen in other games in the past, nothing is undoable. It just takes one good inning, errors made by the defense, you can capitalize, and next thing you know, you're back in it.
As they did in the first game, Haley Hirsch will come back behind the plate as a catcher here in the second inning. "11 runs, 9 hits, no errors for the Lightning. 1 run, no hits, and 2 errors for the Wildcats. As we get set for the bottom of the second inning. So you'd like to think that the Lightning should be able to hold on to his lead and advance here in the tournament.
They're sitting in good position. In seeding games, it's only 8 runs that count towards your seeding as far as accruing points. So right now they're sitting up above that 8-run deficit. So anything above, not even a deficit, that 8-run
Threshold.
Yes, threshold. Thank you. That 8-run threshold. So they even have some runs they can give. But again, as much as you're 8 in the positive, you don't want to allow any runs to score against too, because seeding always capitalizes on both ends of the ball, both your offense and your defense, to make sure it's a well-rounded team and the seeding's appropriate.
And it really isn't, other than the 2 errors, a couple of mental mistakes, which happens on both sides in every game. It's not as though the Wildcats have played terribly thus far. There's been a couple of really blue hits that have gone over the pitcher's head and infield singles that have aided them, hits that are just beyond the infield that have dropped in. So timely hitting, I guess, and again, aggressive base running, 2 key factors.
So they still have 25 minutes to get back in this game, so it is far from over.
Here's just a nice throw down to second base, and we're ready to go here. We're at the bottom of the second inning. Beautiful day in South Florida. The Wildcats trailing 11-1. And with those time constraints that we mentioned, this is really a critical inning for the Wildcats. They need to get some runs on the board to have any opportunity. First pitch is a swinging strike. Ashley Maxwell at the plate. Horswood ready to go. And the 0-1 pitch is a bouncer. He's up the count at 1 ball and 1 strike.
All these pitchers still working on that changeup. Nice effort, just falling short.
1-1 pitch to Maxwell's up high for ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike. We're in the bottom of the second inning. The visiting team for this game, the Jupiter Lightning, leading by a score of 11-1. 2-1 pitch is there for ball 3. Similar to how she started in the first inning. 3-1 pitch is inside for ball 4. So leadoff walk. The Wildcats get a runner on, but they're going to need a lot more than that to get back into this ballgame.
But at least it's got to be a little bit of a morale booster to know that you got your first base runner on, no outs.
And with control problems here in the second inning, first pitch is up high for ball 1.
Actually, I wish I could just be because I've got that nurturing personality, and I'd rather just keep it myself and take care of her. Yeah.
And ball 2. We may see a pitching change sooner rather than later, although with an 11-run lead. Before to get a few runs here. Rosewood having a tough time finding a play here where they're going.
Looks like we got a timeout. Shoelace tying. Last thing you want to do is be running for 2 and trip over your own shoelace. Alright, looks like we're back ready.
2 balls, no strikes, no outs. Runner at first base. And the 2-0 pitch is inside. And he called a strike from the inside corner. Trailing by 10 runs, you don't want to have a runner thrown out at second base.
Right, every base runner is super important.
The 2-1 pitch is swung at and missed. It's up high, and the throw down at second base is high as well, so it's a stolen base. Milo Oistad now, moving ahead in the count. 2-0, swung at really what was ball 3. And now the Wildcats have a runner at second base with no outs. And swung and missed for strike 3. Well, she was ahead in the count, 2-0, but had 2 real meager swings there. Strike out for out number 1.
Wildcats obviously want to try to hit that base runner in, looking for somebody to make some contact. There's contact.
Right back to the pitcher, throws over to first base. Gray Beal for out number 2. So quickly, 2 gone here in the bottom of the second inning. First pitch swinging there.
Runner did advance to third though, so 60 feet away from putting another run on the board for the Wildcats. The Lightning trying to grab that third out before that can possibly happen.
Ashley Maxwell, the runner at third. Peyton Herndon steps in, left-handed batter. 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. And the first pitch is way up high. Says past the pitch, back quickly, and the throw. Oh, not in time. And quick alert base running by Ashley Maxwell as she scores the second run of the game for the Lightning. Interestingly enough, the Wildcats, 2 runs, still no hits in the ballgame, Dave.
Interesting. Very interesting.
And you get some control issues here by Rosewood in the second inning. The 1-0 pitch is in for a called strike, 1-1. They just strike out Peyton Herndon a moment ago. 1 run is in. And swing and a miss and a change there. Strike 2. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Herndon. There are 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. And an 11-2 lead for the Lightning.
First lefty I've seen for the Wildcats. Nice block by the catcher, Hirsch.
Any relation?
Yeah, just a little bit.
So 2 balls and 2 strikes. On Herndon, and the 2-2 offering is low for ball 3. Bottom of the second, 11-2 is our score. Run is in here in the second inning on a wild pitch. And the pitch is a called strike 3. And that'll end the second inning as the Wildcats get 1 run on no hits, no errors, and no one left on base. We played 2 innings, and the score is the Jupiter Lightning 11, TCAA Wildcats 2.
So, looking at that, Ava Horsewood is still pitching a no-hitter.
She is indeed. You'd imagine with the time rule that this would most likely be the last inning, Dave. We'll see how it goes, but
yeah, at the pace we've been going, that is most likely.
And especially should Jupiter get some runners on, get a couple hits, continue this. But
well, I mean, the good news for the Wildcats, though, is the home team. They'll still get another opportunity to come at bat. Let's see how many runs they can get across.
You mentioned too the weather warming up a little bit from this morning's earlier contest. Both teams seem to get tight, if you will, in that first game, the 9:25 start. The temperature is very, very mild. I also made reference to the fact that there's a shave ice truck out in the parking lot. And earlier when I saw you, I said, well, it's a bit too cold for that. But no, it's warming up, and I'm seeing more and more people with those. And,
yeah, the shave ice guy has to be happy that's finally heating up. Otherwise, it would have been a really long, slow day.
There wasn't much business early on.
Long lines, though, at the Aunt Emma's Auntie M's pretzel truck. Got a churrasco steak truck here. Got some nice food options. Last time I seen some delicious churrasco steak was at a Marlins game. You don't expect to see that quality of food.
That's right. Well, Reese Kennerson will lead things off here in the top of the third inning. Jupiter Lightning leading by a score of 11-2, 11 runs on 9 hits, and I correct myself as Cody Spring will lead things off. In the distance, the 4 looked like an 11 through the screen of the backstop. See where that 4 is cut off.
I do understand. I get it.
So
Right, if you
Cody
can't
Spring
see
is
that
first
4
at bat.
coming across.
And swings and misses at the first pitch from Alexander Segura.
We've seen a lot of first pitch swings.
So 11 runs, 9 hits, no errors for the Lightning. 2 runs, no hits, and 2 errors for the Wildcats. And the 0-1 is up high for ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike on Spring. And called strike 2 on the outside corner. 1-2 pitch is up high for ball 2. Counting is at 2 balls and 2 strikes in the top half of the third inning. A 9-run lead for the Lightning. They struck early and offered 6 runs in the first, 5 in the second. And the 2-2 is outside for ball 3.
All right, full count, always exciting. Something's going to happen here.
Full count on Cody Spring, and it's ball 4.
She's hustling down the 1. Ball gets into the circle. A little bit different in softball versus baseball, if you're not familiar. Once that ball is to the pitcher in the circle, you cannot advance. So that's why you'll see sometimes some quick throws. Try to get that to the pitcher, and it freezes the game for the time being. Also, you can't take leads. You can take the lead once the ball is released by the pitcher. That's when you're free to go. But if you leave any sooner, you can get called out.
So Ava Horswood will be up, the pitcher, batting second here in the top of the third inning with the runner at first base. Cody Spring drawing a leadoff walk. And the pitch by Segura is up high, ball 2. Outcome really would appear at this point to be a foregone conclusion. 9-1 lead I mentioned earlier, probably not stealing, but pitch is swung on. And pop foul behind us. You really have to be aware here too, because unlike baseball, there's no screens up behind the backstop, so.
Yeah, it's all dependent on what fields you play on. This one does not. I've been several other fields where they do have netting to protect the spectators. But
ready to deliver the offering to Horsewood, and the 2-1 pitch is hit to left field, high in the air, and left fielder allows it to go over her head. Unfortunately, Spring had to hold up a little bit. She's going to lumber into third base and slide in safely. The ball gets by, but she'll have to hold there. So another mental mistake, as that is the ball that should have been caught in the outfield, Dave. It'll be ruled a base hit and go to second on the throw to third base. That'll be the 10th hit of the ball game.
And the Lightning has circled back to the top of their lineup.
Lightning certainly has struck again here in the third inning, to use a common phrase. And for the fourth time this game, the Lightning have runners at second and third base. So an excellent scoring opportunity once again. And up steps Ainsley Grabio. Had a base hit in the first, and got on with an error, and this will be hit down to shortstop. It'll be an infield single and play to run.
Hard hit ball there by Ainsley, tough for the infield to handle. Gets a run in.
So another run in, another hit, 12 runs on 11 hits. And that wasn't a physical error out there in left field, it was just a mental error. She was under the ball, but just let it go right over her head. And since she didn't touch it, it goes as a base hit. And the runner went down to second. So we have runners at first and second with no outs. And this is another wild pitch, and it'll allow both runners to advance to second and third. Forsberg at third. Grabio is at second. No outs. 1 run in here in the third inning. A 10-run lead for the Lightning. Can't really fault the pitcher Segura. And here's a swing and a miss. Cameron Solano.
Carlos, tell you not to go anywhere? Huh?
Maybe get him off the phone for a little while.
Maybe when
Ball
the
and
game's
strike here. And for the 5th time, runners at second and third. This pitch bounces in with a nice block that time
Sawyer, you got a 5-minute
by the catcher Ashton Maxwell. Kind of 2 balls and a strike.
She hadn't blocked that one. Another run would have come in, so a lot of pressure on the catcher as well as pitcher here. Working hard. Just need a little bit more support.
2-1 offering is up high once again. Count of 3-1, and Segura 1 pitch away from loading up the bases with no outs here in the top of the third inning. Here's a 3-1 pitch, and that is getting into shallow center field. That will be caught by the shortstop. He attempted to make a double play by tagging the runner. Graybill just got back to second base in time. So pop out.
Good heads up. Good heads up base running by Graybill to make sure she did not get doubled off there.
One out, runners at second and third.
Avila Fitzgerald at bat.
First pitch is up high. Fitzgerald had a base hit, came out of the score in the first inning. One ball, no strikes, 1 out here in the top of the third. 1 run is in, runners at second and third, and the 1-0 pitch is up high once again for ball 2.
Worth their weight, right? Walmart in the 95 cents for a pair.
Segura's run 11 hits. 12 runs have come in. And the next pitch is a fastball rolling away, but
Lightning looking to be holding back their runners.
Remember when Janet Bates did?
3 balls,
He's like,
no strikes.
her hands are cold. She said she dropped the ball.
Yeah, no need to risk it.
Again, Segura is 1 pitch away from loading up the bases with 1 out here. It's got to be tough as a pitcher when your fielders don't make the plays they should make. It's happened on a couple of occasions here in the first couple of innings. And this is up high for ball 4.
Tough and frustrating. You have to mentally stay in the game. Mentally stay in the game regardless of what's happening. Pretty tough.
So that'll bring Haley Hirsch back up to the plate. She has 4 RBI, a double, and a single in the ball game. And another great opportunity for her to have those stats, Dave.
See what she can do here. Find that ball if she's given the opportunity and drive it.
0 for 2 in the first game, but 2 for 2 with 4 RBI here in the second game. First pitch is inside for ball 1. Mentally tough on the pitcher too, and the fielders don't make the plays they should, and then the bases are loaded, and you start thinking about that psychologically, that can have an effect on you as well. 1 ball, no strikes. Segura ready. And delivers to Hirsch. Swung on a miss for strike 1. We're in the top half of the third inning. The Jupiter Lightning leading the TCAA Wildcats 12-2 as they have 1 run in here in the top of the third. 1-1 pitch bounces in, blocked nicely again by Maxwell. The count of 2 balls and 1 strike. You don't want to start walking in runners, of course.
Absolutely not, especially when you're at this deficit.
Quick pitch to hit on, of course. 2 balls and 1 strike. And Hirsch will pop it to right field, and it'll curve foul. 12 runs, 11 hits, no errors for the Lightning. 2 runs, no hits, and 2 errors for the Wildcats. And at least 3 mental errors I can think of that have cost some runs here in this ballgame. Next pitch bounces to the backstop, and racing in to score with little fanfare is Ava Horswood. Just for the second run of the inning. Pitch air for the Wildcats. So runners at second and third now. And the pitch to Hirsch is swung on and fell back to the screen. Runners really have to be alert at third base because there's not a lot of room between home plate and the back of the backstop itself when there is a pass ball or a wild pitch.
You have to be fast.
Pitch up high, and that'll be ball 4, and the bases are loaded once again.
And it looks like we got a pitcher change coming.
Well, not 100% the pitcher's fault, I have to say, watching this outing.
No, that
She was
pitcher
hit, but not hit hard.
just needs a little bit stronger defense. There were players in the right places, just couldn't hold onto that ball.
The Gracie Timmerman will come to the pitch for the Wildcats. First pitch, put down the shortstop. That'll score a run as the throw across is in time to get Sawyer Clement for out number 2.
Got an RBI there. Getting another run across.
6 runs in the first, 5 in the second, and 3 here in the third inning for the Lightning. Runners at second and third. The 2 outs hit back to Timmerman. She comes home for some strange reason. And the ball is out at home plate. Wasn't a force there, Dave. And
That's questionable on that one. No, the tag was never there. I'm not sure the umpire was aware that the bases weren't loaded.
Yeah, that was a strange call. I think we watch that on the video, and I'm sure we will. But I guess in this case it's okay. But that was a bit unusual because you should have thrown the first with 2 outs. Threw home. It looked like the runner easily beat the throw, and the tag was never applied. So nobody questioned it.
No.
With a 12-run lead, I guess there's no need to question it.
Right. The closer game, I think you would definitely say
3
something.
runs on only 1 hit. There was another error committed. And our box score heading into the final half of the 3rd inning, and most likely the last part of this ball game, as the Jupiter Lightning with 14 runs on 12 hits and no errors, and the TCAA Wildcats with 2 runs, no hits, and 3 errors. Gracie Timmerman did a good job coming in there, quickly putting out the fire. When I watch the replay on the Florida Softball Network, I really want to watch that play because I just don't feel there was a tag.
Yeah, I didn't see any effort whatsoever, honestly, made for that tag. If it was a force at home, I would get that, yes.
And I really believe that's what the umpire thought because the Lightning have had so many runners on base in these 3 innings.
Right. I mean, there might even be a case for obstruction, quite honestly, on that play.
Well, we are ready to go. I mentioned these tournaments, 70-minute time limit. Once that's exceeded, the home team still gets there at that. They would need a lot of runs to get back into this game. They trail by 12. It's 14-2 as we head to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Dave Peterson along with Dave Ruth. A beautiful Sunday in South Florida for girls softball.
It really has turned. Wind has died down. The sun is warming things up.
Not tons. Just like
Comfortable day at the ball field. Watching the action on the clay.
Lyndon Eastman will step up to the plate to lead things off here for the Wildcats. Trailing by 12 in the bottom of the 3rd inning. And the first pitch is way up high. The ball 1.
Speaking of move, pick up the block and put it back in the
Wildcats looking for their first hit, and a change is in for a strike. Got Eastman backing out of the batter's box there. Ball just floated across for strike 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. And the pitch catches the inside corner for strike 2. Forsworth's accuracy has really picked up over the last inning and a half or so. Floats one outside for ball 2.
A little change up that a little too far outside, but otherwise looked good.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Bottom of the 3rd inning. And the pitch is a change again inside for ball 3. The one thing you don't want to do, even with a large lead like this, is start putting runners on base and giving them opportunities to get back in the game.
Looks like time has expired, so here we go. The umpire making the official announcement. Time expired. We'll finish the inning. So the last outs here for the Wildcats to try to get back into this game. And
4 count on Lyndon Eastman with Gracie Timmerman waiting on deck. And the 3-2 pitch is swung on the miss for strike 3. Nice fastball there, Dave, on a full count. Out number 1.
absolutely. Wildcats down their last 2 outs.
Gracie Timmerman swings and misses at the first pitch. She came in to record those 2 outs in the top of the 3rd inning. Threw from second base to pitcher. And the 0-1 pitch is up high for ball 1.
And still working on that changeup. Got to try to keep the rhythm off from the batter. It's good to mix it up a little
1
bit.
ball, 1 strike, and up high again on a fastball, 2-1. Ellsworth's 2-1 pitch is hit down Weekly to first base and just hurls foul. So ball and 2 strikes.
Notice more lane traffic now with the bright line in my eye.
Well, you know, it's funny. I watched Frankfurt go by the other day, and I was like a little elementary school girl. So remember when the kids were in daycare and they would all go out and the kids would cheer. That was me. I'm like,
Another foul ball.
Yep. 1
First
ball, 2
base.
strikes. So. And hopefully, as the Lightning progressed today, they could kind of build on this. The fact that they were hitting the ball well. So this pitch is bounced in for ball 2, 2-2. Getting it toward the key, getting base runners on and advancing the base runners, and that's something they did very well here in this game.
Yeah, the Lightning
2
definitely
balls,
putting on.
2 strikes. This one bounces in again.
Lightning putting on an offensive show. Not offensive, but offensive.
And people digging holes.
Digging holes and climbing out.
Alexander Segura. Again, I don't fault her so much. The pitching just wasn't hit hard, but there was some errors and some bloops, and she hits down to third base. And throw across the diamond is in time to get out for 2.
Nice play.
Timmerman advances to second base, but a good play there, good fielding play.
That throw from corner to corner.
2 outs here.
It's a long throw.
And Olivia Mott will be the last hope here for the Wildcats. In the bottom of the 3rd inning, trailing 14-2. And first pitch is a swinging strike 1. And the next pitch is swung on a miss, strike 2. It seems like the bat's too heavy for him.
Yeah. Coach, after that first swing, telling her to keep her eyes on that ball. Ava way ahead on the batter.
This would be an ideal spot for one of those changeups.
Absolutely, you're ahead. Try a pitch that you're still working on. Change up a curve, a drop ball. This is the time to do it.
Well, it would be if she's able to strike her out. It would be a no-hitter, albeit a 3-inning no-hitter. But 0-2 is the count. And the pitch is called strike 3, and that's the ball game. Well, the Jupiter Lightning made quick work of TCAA Wildcats here, Dave, in this game, striking for 6 runs in the first, 5 runs in the second, and then 3 runs in the 3rd inning, and ending up with a 14-2 victory. Final totals for the Lightning: 14 runs on 12 hits, no errors, and for the Wildcats, 2 runs, no hits. They committed 3 errors. The 70-minute rule in effect, and that means the Lightning are now 2-0 today, and they'll move on.
So this is the last of their seeding games. So next up will be bracket games. At the top seed, that should put them towards the later game of both games.
And you mentioned earlier that they could play as many as 5 games today?
That's correct. So it's now we go into the, I always get it confused, is it quarterfinal or semifinal first? I believe it's semifinal, then quarterfinal, and then your final.
Quarterfinal, then semifinal, and final.
Okay, well there you go. Still trying to dig myself out of the hole.
Well, hey, I appreciate you having me come on with you to do these games. Maybe we'll do some more as the season progresses.
Sounds great. It's been a blast having you, Dave. Thank you very, very much for joining the Florida Softball Network. Stream these games. Great announcing. Hope everybody out there enjoyed watching these games.
For the Jupiter Lightning fans, I know they thoroughly enjoyed this game and saw a lot of action, of course, in the 3 innings. Again, 14-2 our final score here.